Thank you to EA for inviting me to this early access event. Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are doing a build featuring the brand new Sims 4 Adventure Awaits expansion pack. Before I start, I just want to let you know that I am hosting a giveaway for this pack. In case I forget something, there will be a pinned comment on this video with all of the instructions, but basically I will be giving away one PC code for the new pack, and all you have to do to win is to just leave a comment on this video and just make sure you include your Instagram username. I will be messaging the person on Instagram, so make sure that you are active on there. And yeah, in case I forget something, it's all gonna be in the pinned comment on this video, so please check that out as well. So I was actually pretty excited for this pack, like I'm not gonna lie, mainly because of the custom venues gameplay. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have mixed feelings about the gameplay, like once I've started to do some gameplay myself, mainly because the custom venues is heavily tied to the getaway gameplay. And for some reason, I was thinking that, the custom venues aspect can be applied to like just any community lot. That isn't the case. Like the gameplay specific options that come with custom venues, like having a schedule, for example, or having set roles that you assign to Sims, those gameplay features are only available if you set up a getaway before visiting the lot. So to me, that was kind of a letdown because I was really excited to build like all kinds of, venues. Like I was really looking forward to building like a hotel. I was like, this is the hotel expansion pack that I've been waiting for, but unfortunately that's not the case. I feel like the gameplay features that they introduced with this pack work best if you have like a household of multiple Sims, and if you just want to focus on one Sim and just let the other Sims kind of like do their own thing, because I do like the fact that we have a schedule and Sims will do certain activities based on the schedule, which is great. So if you have like parents and kids, for example, like you can just focus on the parents and let them work on their skills or their gathering or whatever, and the kids can just do their own thing. They will eat at a certain time and they will go to bed at a certain time based on the schedule, which I actually really like. I wish they implemented that for like regular households, because sometimes I get very not motivated to play households because I just don't want to micromanage like all of those Sims, even though I really do enjoy having kids and teens in my households. And they also added this new feature where it's kind of like this coming of age feature, I think, where the kids can like reference stuff that happened to them as a kid and they will remember that once they become adults, which I think is really cool. And once again is another feature that kind of like incentivizes playing as kids. But I wish they did implement the new feature in households, because I think that would be perfect to have like a daily routine type of thing. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed when I realized that it was only really accessible if you set up a getaway first. So I don't know if I'm gonna be using this feature that often, because it just feels like an expanded version of the group gameplay that came with Get Together. I know a lot of people really enjoy that gameplay. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but there are other aspects to the gameplay in this pack that I really enjoyed. I love the new outdoor activities, particularly the new etymology skill. I really love it. I actually added like a caterpillar incubator thingy, in this lot. So I imagine like one of the kids maybe is into etymology, and they can grow their own caterpillar, and I think it's pretty cool. You can gather butterflies that are scattered around the world. I don't think they're available in other worlds. I think they're limited to this particular world, which is kind of a bummer. I wish the spawners also showed up in other worlds, but you can also include them in other lots as well, which is pretty cool. And I also made my sim do kayaking as well. I thought that was pretty cool. I did notice that whenever they use like a kayak from like a community lot, they just leave it in the middle of nowhere, which was really funny. I don't know what the logistics of that would be if, the kayak would just teleport back to where it's supposed to be or something, but I thought that was pretty cool. And I also love the new exercise equipment, and also the new playground items was really fun. I did use that in this build as well. Definitely one of the highlights for me in this build, it's because you can just do a lot of like different combinations with like the modular playground equipment, and also with the new exercise equipment as well. I really love the stationary bike and also the new blender. I didn't realize I would be so excited about like such a small appliance, but I don't know, I was just really excited to have that and have some gameplay associated with it as well. I have done quite a bit of gameplay in this house, but I've only played as a single sim. I haven't dabbled that much into the family gameplay, but I think it's pretty cool. Also, I just want to quickly mention that the adults can also play in the new modular playground equipment, and also with like the slides as well. I didn't realize they can do that, but apparently they can, which is pretty cool as well. And there's also this new little feature they added with the fire pits where you can add kind of like, I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of like this grill that you put on top of the fire pit, and it gives you the option to cook more stuff, which is pretty cool. So I really like that aspect of the gameplay, and also I love the world itself. I believe this is a New Zealand inspired world, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's pretty quirky because it's like Gibbi Point. It's called Gibbi Point. And a lot of, I don't know what Gibbi is actually, but they kind of like reference it all throughout the world with like Camp Gibbi Gibbi and stuff like that. But I think it's really cute. It's really quirky, and I like the natural beauty of this world. I will say that a lot of the plants though look like they're recycled assets, which they kind of are. So there's some aspects of this world that just looks like, a slightly different version of like Granite Falls or something like that. But I still think it's pretty beautiful. There are a couple of new plants that came with this pack that I have added into this build. Like there's this one palm tree, and there's this red flowering tree as well, which I incorporated into this build. And I just like how normal this world looks. I'm not a huge fan of kind of like the more fantastical, art style of some of the other packs. I'm looking at you, Enchanted by Nature. Even though I do like some of the gameplay aspects, I wasn't super crazy about how cartoony kind of like some parts of the new world looked. So I'm really happy that we have a more grounded look for this pack, and it does actually kind of remind me a lot of Copperdale, which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's my overall thoughts on this pack. Let me know how you feel about it. I really enjoy all of the new items because, as you guys know, I am a builder, and that's basically the one thing that I'm most looking forward to other than the gameplay. I love seeing all of the new build and buy mode items, and I kind of knew that I was gonna like the style of this build because of what they've shown in the trailers. I will say that some of the items do feel a little bit limiting because of the swatches. I feel like the swatches are just so limiting, especially for the windows and wallpapers. I wish they could have done more. I feel like they could have taken it further with the wallpapers, but it is what it is. Overall, I really like the art style, and I feel like this has kind of like a little bit of that art style from some of my favorite packs actually, like werewolves, and also I forgot the name of this kit, but there's this one kit where it's like the outdoor camping one. I forgot the name of it, but I really like the art style of that one, and a lot of the items that came with this pack kind of have that vibe, especially for like the kids room. So yeah. But anyway, for this house, I just went for something that was very modern. I'm kind of in my quote unquote brutalist phase at the moment. So in a lot of my builds, I am working with a lot of concrete. And I like mixing it with wood textures. I'm obsessed with that wood texture from Businesses and Hobbies. I absolutely love that wallpaper. And also, I didn't expect to like this pack this much, but Desert Lux is coming in clutch for me for some reason. Like, I've been using that pack so much in a lot of my recent builds. Like, it's pretty crazy. It also comes with like an open sliding, no, it's not a sliding door. It's like a folding door, which is pretty cool. I wish they included more of that actually in other packs, because it's like the one modern looking door that we have in game. But anyway, highly suggest you guys check out Desert Lux if you haven't checked it out yet, because it's actually like one of my favorite packs. I will say, speaking of kind of like the build buy mode items, I did love the debug items in this pack, especially those little potted plants that are on kind of like upcycled tin cans. I thought that was really cool. I did place a couple of them throughout this build. And for the landscaping, I think you noticed earlier, I'm not sure if I included footage of it, but I was gonna go for a different landscaping vibe, but then I decided to like add some planter beds, and I thought that gave the landscaping some more structure. And there's also this little kiwi sculpture, which is really cute, and I wanted to include that as a nod to this being kind of like a New Zealand inspired setting, even though I will say that this house is actually based on like more of like an Australian house. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but there's this TV show that came out earlier this year called The Survivors. It has Charlie Vickers in it, which if you guys don't know, he plays Sauron in The Rings of Power. But yeah, it's like this mystery crime drama on Netflix. At least I saw it on Netflix, and this house is actually based on one of the houses from that TV show. This house specifically was based off of the Friends house. I did try to look it up online, but I don't know if they built a custom set for that, because I did find like a blog where they kind of like showed like the different filming locations. The show is set in Tasmania, so it's not quite New Zealand, but you know, I mean, it's kind of like in that area, right? But yeah, the shape of the house was heavily inspired by the Friends house from that show, but the landscaping, I tried to kind of like match it with whatever landscaping was surrounding this place, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know why this area of the world kind of like had this very dry vibe to it, which I thought was very interesting. Like there's a huge rock formation behind this stuff, which I thought was pretty interesting. I also want to say that usually when a new pack comes out, I do try to limit the packs that I use to only base game and that one pack. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for this build, because I ended up using maybe 5 or 6 packs. I know for a fact that I used Adventure Awaits, obviously, and I also used Businesses and Hobbies, Enchanted by Nature, so basically the last 3 packs that was released. I also used Eco Lifestyle because that flooring is from Eco Lifestyle, and I also used Get Together because it has some of my favorite landscaping items from Debug, and Desert Lux. I think those are the only packs that I use. So still kind of a limited pack build, but yeah, you're definitely gonna need those if you want this build to look the way it is. Unfortunately, with this new pack, it does feel like you need a little bit more to make a full build. Like, there are a lot of items that I liked, but I ended up using, you know, pieces from different packs just to get the look that I wanted. I forgot to mention that I had like 2 other builds prepared for this pack. I did build like a Japanese hot spring and a hotel. I did build them hoping that I was going to be able to implement some of the new gameplay features, but I don't know if that's going to work out, especially for the Japanese hot spring one, but we'll see. So yeah, please look out for those. Those will be coming out soon. But yeah, for the interior of this build, I just tried to go for something that's a little bit more, I don't actually know how to describe it. Kind of bohemian, if that makes sense, or maybe not. Basically, kind of like, it's log cabin, but a little bit more sophisticated, if you guys get what I mean. It's kind of like an upscale log cabin, if that makes sense. So, you know, there's a lot of concrete, there's a lot of like expensive looking furniture, basically. And yeah, overall, I just wanted this to feel cozy, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially the kids' bedroom. I am not one for doing, you know, family gameplay usually, but I think this is like my favorite kids' room that I've done in a while. So really, really happy with how it turned out. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the new items. So yeah, I did try to use the new sofa that came with this pack, but it just didn't, I don't know, it just wasn't the right style, I guess. Also not the right color. I really struggled with some of the wood swatches from this pack because a lot of them don't really match. Like, to me, Horse Ranch and Business and Hobbies still has the best wood swatches. I feel like this pack could have been it with like the wood textures, but the swatches are just a bit mismatched. Like, even if they're supposed to be like the same set, they're just kind of like a different color, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was tough to like make it all look like it matched, but you know, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out still. I mean, not every piece has to match, if that makes sense, but you know, it's nice to have some consistency with, you know, the wood swatches. I had the same problem with Cottage Living, actually. Like, I wasn't sure why the wood swatches just wasn't matching, but you know, it is what it is, and I think it still works. I'm still happy with how it came out. I will say that I initially loved the beds that came with this pack, but then I realized that the bed sheets were just not good. This is a problem that we have with literally every bed in The Sims, because we can't pick the bed frame and the bed sheets as separate swatches, you know. And to me, it does have it is kind of problematic in my opinion, and I hope they address it at some point. I doubt they would, but I hope they address it at some point. But yeah, I just am not a huge fan of the bed sheets. But I did use the new beds that came with this pack. Like, did you guys hear that sigh of disappointment? Yeah. The beds themselves are really nice. I just wish that, you know, we could pick different, you know, bed sheets that go with different bed frames. There is actually a new mirror that comes with this pack. I will switch out the mirror that I put in the bathroom, because I discovered that we do have a new mirror that came with this. And yeah, I also thought about including some like camping equipment, camping gear inside, but I found that like entry hall shelf thing, which is really cute, that's like the item that I'm talking about that was like hard to match with some of the pre-existing wood swatches, because if you look at the wood color that it has, it's a little bit different. So yeah. And anyway, for the kids' bedroom, we are mostly furnishing it with items that came from this pack. So the wallpaper, the beds, and pretty much everything, like the desk and the dresser is also from this pack as well. I do feel like this works better as like, I don't know, maybe like a vacation home. But you can also live here as a family home. So one kid is into paper crafts, which is another new skill that we have for this pack. And the other kid is into etymology, which is really awesome. I did play around with that, and I'm currently raising a caterpillar. Also, I didn't realize it at first, but this pack did come with some new curtains, which are kind of like rolled up tarps, which is pretty cool. I don't actually know what that's supposed to be. I guess they were trying to go for like a tent kind of vibe. Oh, and yeah, there's this one table that's for appliances, which is pretty cool. I've never seen that before, because I feel like they've only made it so that appliances work with counters. So to have a table that works with appliances is also pretty cool as well. But yeah, I don't know why they incorporated like some, items that are like tarps, because there's also like a wallpaper, I think, that's like a tarp as well. And I think there's also a roof. I do love the new tin roof that comes with this pack, but there's also like a new tarp roof as well, which is pretty interesting. I guess they wanted people to like make their own tents, if that makes sense. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, here I am working on the master bedroom, and you can see how indecisive I was here. Sometimes I like to include like the decision-making process in my videos, because yeah, oftentimes it's not as straightforward. And it's a bedroom. It's kind of hard to come up with something new, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I wish we had more options for the beds. I think that's really it. And actually, I also included one of those like functional indoor plants that came with Enchanted by Nature. So there's a couple of those actually in this build. There's one here in the bedroom, and there's another one in the entrance as well. And yeah, I think they look really cute. And I think that's pretty much it for the interior. Actually, I think I put like a little painting on top of the bed just to add something to that wooden paneled wall there, because it did look kind of empty. I will say that I did think I was gonna love the new wallpapers that came with this pack. I feel like I still prefer the horse ranch. Nothing has, topped that as far as I'm concerned. Even though I did put out a similar wallpaper to the one that they have. It's the vertical wall panelings. It looks really similar to the board and batten wallpapers that I made myself for my own CC. And I have to say that I prefer my own CC over the board and batten wallpapers that they have for this pack. But I think a lot of that has to do with just the swatches, because I just wasn't in love with the swatches that they had for that wallpaper. But anyway, for the outdoor dining area, we do have kind of like this barbecue area. And I did put like a kayak on this outdoor porch area over here, and there's actually a lot of room to expand if you guys want to add more skill items, because I think I've only really occupied like half of this lot. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this build actually. So let me know how you guys feel about the new pack, And if you guys want to join the giveaway, just don't forget to read the pinned comment in this video. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.